You think you know crime, but get ready for D Company.
Oh, there's something else.
A group so big they make the Mafia look, I don't know, like small potatoes.
You could say that, yeah.
We're diving into their story.
Should be interesting.
How they went from, like, Mumbai side streets to the FBI's most wanted list.
It's fascinating, really. D Company's longevity and reach. Yeah, they're unique in the world of organized crime.
Okay, so rewind to 1976. Most crime bosses start with, I don't know, guns. But D Company's first big move involved empty soda bottles.
It's these soda bottles.
Sounds bizarre.
It does, doesn't it? But what's fascinating here is that it perfectly encapsulates their audacity. Even in their early days, this wasn't some, random act. This was targeted. This was an attack on Bashu Dada, a big-time smuggler, and get this connected to Dawood Ibrahim's father.
Dawood Ibrahim, the head honcho. So this soda bottle incident was personal, like a family feud turned criminal debut.
Precisely. It was their announcement. It set the stage for this rivalry they had with the Pathan gang. They were the dominant force in Mumbai's underworld at the time.
And how did empty soda bottles take down a whole gang?
It wasn't the bottles themselves, but the brazenness of it. I mean, come on. It was a statement. And this was followed by a calculated campaign of violence. By the late 1980s, D Company had effectively, removed the Pathan gang's leadership, established their dominance.
Talk about a hostile takeover. But even I've heard of the 1993 Bombay bombings. That's D Company's doing too, right? Not exactly small-time crime anymore.
No, not at all. The 1993 bombings were a turning point. A terrifying display of D Company's reach and power. 12 coordinated bombings across Mumbai. Over 250 deaths and hundreds injured.
It's just...
This wasn't about turf wars anymore. This wasn't about soda bottles. This put them on the global map for all the wrong reasons.
It's hard to imagine the devastation. And this is still just the beginning of their story.
Oh, yeah.
What's wild is they weren't just thugs with bombs. They were building an empire. Bollywood, real estate. It's almost like they wanted a piece of everything.
That's a great way to put it. They recognized that diversifying their interests, blending, legitimate businesses with their criminal activities, it would, how do I put it, give them a shield, make them harder to target.
So they were playing the long game, thinking generations ahead, like a mafia family, but with, like, a business plan.
In a way, yes, and Bollywood. Perfect fit. The glamour, the money, the influence, it provided a smokescreen and a source of income. Think about films like Company or Shootout at Wadala, directly inspired by D Company's dealings.
They were practically making themselves pop culture icons.
Right.
But what about something more tangible, like real estate? I've heard whispers about their property empire.
Those whispers are accurate. D Company invested heavily in real estate, particularly in Mumbai. They amassed a significant portfolio, and this blending of legitimate and illicit business, it's a hallmark of their operation, and one of the reasons they've been so difficult to dismantle.
Okay, so we've got soda bottles, Bollywood, and real estate. This is not your average street gang.
Nope.
It's almost like they're trying to build a legitimate business empire, but on a foundation of crime.
And that's what makes them so fascinating and dangerous. They've infiltrated systems, blurred the lines between legal and illegal. Take, for instance, the 2011 2G Spectrum case in India.
Wait, the massive telecom scandal? That rocked the country.
The one and only.
How does D Company fit into that?
Well, investigations unveiled a tangled web of corruption, reached the highest levels of government, and D Company's links emerged through companies like DB Realty and DB Etisalat, promoted by an individual named Shahid Balwa.
Hold on. Are we saying a criminal organization allegedly had their claws in a massive government contract?
Allegedly, yes.
That's some next-level stuff.
It speaks to their audacity and their ability to exploit opportunities wherever they arise. Remember, we're talking about a group the FBI has listed as one of the world's 10 most wanted fugitives.
Which brings us to the man himself, Dawood Ibrahim. Decades on the run, a ghost in the machine of global crime. How does he do it? Is he living it up on a private island somewhere?
His exact whereabouts. It's a mystery. But intelligence suggests a life of luxury, a far cry from the streets where he made his name. Wiretaps even hint at extensive real estate holdings, particularly in Dubai.
So he's living the high life while his organization spans the globe.
Pretty much.
It's almost like he's operating from a different playbook, one that's kept him one step ahead for all these years.
And that's exactly what makes D Company such a compelling case study. Their ability to adapt, to evolve, to remain a force to be reckoned with on the global stage. It begs the question, with all this power and reach, is taking them down even possible? That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? A question that's kept, intelligence agencies up at night for decades. And there's no simple solution, right? Not when you're talking about an organization as deeply rooted and as widespread as D Company.
It's like, how do you fight a shadow? Where do you even begin when they're woven into, like, legal systems allegedly connected to government agencies?
It's a massive challenge, no doubt about it, but not an impossible one.
Okay.
A vital aspect of this, though, has to be international cooperation.
Makes sense.
Because D Company's global network demands a united response from, nations worldwide. Sharing information, coordinating intelligence, conducting joint operations, those are crucial to disrupt their activities, to dismantle their infrastructure.
It's like the old saying, it takes a world, but in this case, to combat a global criminal enterprise.
Yeah.
But it can't just be about, like, catching the low-level operatives, right? You've got to go after the money, the kingpins, those high-level connections.
Absolutely. Targeting D Company's financial infrastructure, that's essential.
Right.
Following the money trail, uncovering those shadowy shell corporations, seizing their assets, those things can seriously cripple their ability to operate. Of course, this requires meticulous financial investigation and, you guessed it, global cooperation to freeze and seize assets across different countries.
So we're talking financial warfare, intelligence gathering on a global scale. It's like something out of a spy thriller.
You got it. It demands a multifaceted strategy, for sure. But there's another tool in our arsenal that we haven't mentioned yet.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's that?
Public awareness.
Okay. Now that's intriguing. How does raising public awareness help in this fight?
See, D Company, like a lot of criminal organizations, they thrive in the shadows.
Right.
They rely on secrecy, spreading misinformation, fear. That's how they maintain their grip. But shining a light on their activities, exposing their connections, educating the public about their methods, those can be powerful countermeasures.
So knowledge is power. By empowering people with the truth, you're pulling back the curtain, exposing the, machinations that allow organizations like this to thrive.
Exactly.
But what about the people who are vulnerable to, recruitment by groups like this? You mentioned poverty and violence as contributing factors.
Right, and that's a crucial point. We need to address those root causes, the things that make individuals susceptible to recruitment. This means tackling issues like poverty, lack of opportunity, social inequality head-on, because when people have viable alternatives, the allure of joining a criminal organization, it loses its shine.
It's a reminder that this isn't just a law enforcement issue. It's a societal issue. To truly combat organizations like D Company, we need to create a world where joining their ranks seems less like, a chance for survival and more like a dead end.
Exactly. It's about fostering a society where everyone has access to opportunity, where the rule of law is paramount, and where individuals, they feel empowered to choose a different path, one where organizations like D Company struggle to find recruits.
It's a tall order, no question. But this deep dive has really revealed the, intricacies of dismantling a criminal organization as entrenched and adaptable as D Company. And they've managed to stay ahead of the game for so long. How? What's the secret sauce to their resilience?
One word: adaptation. D Company, particularly under Dawood Ibrahim's leadership, has displayed a remarkable ability to adapt to changing circumstances. You close off one avenue, they'll find new ways to generate revenue, forge new alliances, exploit fresh vulnerabilities. They're like a criminal chameleon.
Always evolving, blending in. It makes you wonder, with all the global efforts to combat D Company, have there been any significant victories? Any moments where it felt like their grip on power was genuinely loosening?
Oh, there have been instances where, law enforcement agencies have landed significant blows against D Company. For example, the arrest and extradition of key figures like Abu Salam.
Oh, right.
He was involved in the 1993 Bombay bombings and the murder of Gulshan Kumar.
Right.
That was a major win. Sent a clear message that they couldn't operate with impunity.
So it's not a hopeless situation.
Not at all.
It's a war of attrition, a marathon, not a sprint. But with D Company's rumored ties to organizations like Lashkar-e-Taiba, are we talking about something even bigger, even more dangerous than organized crime? Are we talking about terrorism?
That's where things get even more complicated. The The lines between organized crime and terrorism, they've blurred in recent years. This convergence, where criminal enterprises like D Company intersect with terrorist groups, it poses a formidable threat to global security.
It's not just about money and power anymore. It's about ideology, access to resources, and the potential for, devastating attacks. That's a chilling thought.
It is, and it underscores the need for a comprehensive and collaborative approach to counterterrorism efforts.
Yeah.
Sharing intelligence, coordinating operations, and truly understanding the motivations and capabilities of these groups, those are vital to combating this evolving threat.
This is sounding less like battling one criminal organization and more like tackling a global network of interconnected threats. Where do we even begin to address something on that scale?
You're right. It is a complex web of interconnected networks. But within that web, D Company, they occupy a prominent position. They've masterfully forged alliances and established themselves as a major player in this shadowy world.
So they're playing 3D chess while everyone else is still on checkers.
Hmm.
What does the future hold for an organization like D Company? Can this level of power last forever?
Predicting the future is a fool's game.
True.
But one thing is certain organizations like D Company are in a constant state of evolution. They're early adopters of new technologies, quick to exploit emerging markets, and they thrive on geopolitical instability. The challenge for law enforcement and intelligence agencies is to stay one step ahead, to anticipate their next move.
Which brings us back to Dawood Ibrahim, the enigma at the heart of it all. He's been the mastermind behind D Company's success, the unseen hand guiding their every move. But what happens to an organization like this when its leader vanishes?
There's that billion-dollar question again.
It's not like he can just, pass on the CEO position.
Precisely. Some experts believe that D Company, with its established infrastructure and network, could continue operating even without Dawood Ibrahim at the helm. Others argue that his absence would create a power vacuum, potentially leading to fragmentation or a struggle for control.
It's like a game of chess where the king suddenly disappears from the board. What happens next?
It's a complex scenario with countless variables, but understanding those variables, analyzing the potential outcomes, and crafting strategies to counter those threats, that's the daily grind for intelligence agencies worldwide.
And as we've uncovered in this deep dive, it's not just about traditional law enforcement. It's about addressing social inequalities, creating economic opportunities, and strengthening international cooperation. It's about dismantling the structures that allow organizations like D Company to thrive. So for our listeners who are now thoroughly engrossed in the world of D Company, what's the key takeaway? What should they be pondering as they process all of this information?
If there's one thing to remember, it's this. Combating organized crime, especially on a global scale, is a shared responsibility. It requires awareness, vigilance, and a commitment to building a more just and equitable world.
Because a world with less darkness is a world where organizations like D Company have fewer shadows to hide in. It feels like a call to action for everyone listening. We can't just sit back and expect governments to handle everything. So what can everyday people like us actually do to make a dent in such a massive problem?
Yeah, it can feel daunting, right? But even small actions, when they're multiplied, they can create a ripple effect. Staying informed is a fantastic first step. Dive deeper into this world. Learn about organized crime, how they operate, their impact, their global reach.
Okay.
Support the organizations that are doing the hard work, whether it's advocacy groups pushing for change, awareness campaigns shining a light on these issues, or even groups providing resources to communities that are vulnerable to recruitment.
So be aware, be engaged, and put your money where your mouth is. Support businesses with ethical practices.
Precisely. Every decision we make, every dollar we spend, it either contributes to the problem or it becomes part of the solution. Don't underestimate the power of everyday choices, and don't be afraid to speak up. If you see something, say something. Report suspicious activity. You never know what small act might help dismantle a piece of the puzzle.
This deep dive has been a wild ride. We started with empty soda bottles on the streets of Mumbai, and we ended up in a world of global intrigue, terrorism, corruption on an unimaginable scale.
It has been wild, hasn't it?
D Company's story is a stark reminder that ambition, violence, unchecked greed, it can have far-reaching consequences.
Yeah, and it highlights a chilling reality, doesn't it? The fight against organized crime. Far from over. It's an ongoing battle that requires, vigilance, awareness, and a collective effort to build a world where organizations like D Company struggle to survive.
So we leave you today, not with, easy answers, but with a deeper understanding of this complex world we live in, We've explored the intricate web of D Company, the challenges of combating organized crime, and ultimately, the power we all possess to make a difference.
Here, here.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. Because, as we've learned today, knowledge is the most powerful weapon we have.